Hey, Dr. C here. Glad you joined us today. This is part 2, basically, of aging. We spent a lot of time the first time talking about a lot of the theoretical reasons that they see in the body that explains aging. And they're all theoretical to this point, at any rate. But there are a lot of people out there now who want to go further into it. And they want a little more than just chronological age. Most of them don't want to live to be 200. Well, there are a few who want to live to be 200, but nevertheless, most people want good quality life. Whether it's more than you lived before, as long as it's good quality, they're happy with that. Very happy with that. And so, let's talk a little bit about what's being done for us to live a better quality of life and maybe get some extra length out of it too. Let's start at the beginning. Do you know that if you saw me here 7 years ago, my body is totally different. It's been regenerated. Every 7 years, our bodies regenerate. New skin, new muscle, new organs, all regenerative. 7 years, that's all it takes. That translates to about 50 to 70 billion, with a B, billion cells per day that regenerate. And they're usually a result of the stem cells in the body. So those little stem cells really do have a lot of work ahead of them. So we start with that. We'll start with that at any rate. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we can do. Number one, we can do it on our own. We can try to live the best life because there are certain things that happen in life that if you don't do it, you live longer. If you do it, you don't live as long. Smoking, good example. So if I looked at all of the manufacturers and all who want their products sold and all, they tell you, well, if you don't smoke, you can gain 11 years of life. Wow. The average now is 79 years. I add 11 to that, I'm up to 90 already. Whoa, okay, keep going. What if you exercise regularly? Whoa, you can add 8 years to your life. I'm up to 98 now. Holy smokes, what else can I do? Well, if your weight is stable, and you eat properly, you can add another 5 years. I'm up there, over 100 already, up to 103. If you get regular sleep, you can add 5 years to your life. Woo, I'm up to 108. Unfortunately, I can't go any higher than that because the other things like I don't drink. No, unfortunately, that's not a good one. So there are other things that could add to your life too. But wow, 108. So that's if you do it on your own. On your own. The other option, like 40% of our country, let the government do it. Boy, if you can't trust somebody, you can't trust our government. And I'm not an anarchist. It's just that, well, I don't even have to get into that. That's a whole separate subject. But the present Trump administration is really into this, what's called the longevity movement. Longevity, which does mean live longer, but like I say, probably over half the people don't really want to live longer. They just want to live better. Better. That's all they want. So instead of lifespan, they call it health span. They want their health span to be better. So I can't argue with either. Can't argue with either. So let's go into what can the government do? What can they do? What can Robert Kennedy do? Well, Trump told Robert Kennedy he'd had 3 things that he wanted him to do as the head of Health and Human Services. Number 1, get rid of the dead wood. Wow, that's getting rid of a lot of people. And he is right now. You know, whole organizations like the FDA, totally corrupt. Totally corrupt. They're going to get rid of him. So that's just one example. It goes right down the line. So at any rate, that's one thing. So number 1, remove the corruption. Number 2, all of the monies that are spent in healthcare with the government approval and all, emphasize prevention, not just disease. When I was a kid, you never went to the doctor unless you got sick. You stayed the heck away from them. But now, a little different. Now they want to prevent it before you get the disease, which is the 3rd thing that Trump told our Robert Kennedy Jr. You know, basically, try to do something about the chronic diseases. Those chronic diseases, 6 of 10 of us elders have 1 or more chronic diseases. Many of them have the more than 1. That's a lot. And it translates to a couple $1 trillion in healthcare costs a year. So those are the 3 things that Robert Kennedy he's tasked with. Now, I can't foresee that he's going to be approved, but my feeling is that he is. So if the government is going to be there, they may, and I just say may, help. But you can't rely on them. So you can do it on your own. You can let the government do it for you. Isn't it a shame 40% of people just follow that government? That's it. We're really getting slack and lazy in this country, no question. And then you can take the bull by the horns, and you can take all of the latest things that are out there to improve longevity and live that life now. Would it work? Well, I don't know. Let's look at a couple of people who are out there doing this now. I'm going to give you a couple of stories, basically. The first one, his name is David Asprey. Now, David, I believe, he's probably about 52 now. And David is not a doctor, but he wanted to improve the quality of his remaining life. And so, how is he approaching it? Well, he's approaching it he founded a couple of companies. He founded a company called, I'm sorry, I have to check on this because, well, you know, my brain is shrinking, as yours is too. We're all shrinking. I've shrunk probably about 20% at my age now. So, at any rate, we're talking about Dave Asprey. He calls himself the founder of biohacking. Biohacking. Now, what is biohacking? It's basically controlling the environment outside and inside your body with the end result of getting a more effective life, avoiding a lot of the diseases. Or if you have a disease, treating it well. So what he did is he founded a corporation with a lot of corporate money. In fact, in 2023, that's 2 years ago almost, 2023, 330 billion with a B dollars got put into the longevity movement. Most of the people obviously could afford it. Many of them are millionaires, as is Dave Asprey. But they founded this corporation, and they are building, or have purchased, I should say, the latest equipment. Now, the CAT scan in your local hospital, peanuts compared to what the latest CAT scan can do. But they bought the best. And they will do total body scans. They will also do blood tests for 110 biomarkers. What is a biomarker? It's a sign of disease, like cholesterol and sugar and liver function and kidney function, right down the line. 110 of them. And then they take that data from what they got with the blood test and with the CAT scan and all, and they can, not 100%, but at least they can use that and predict what sort of diseases you may get. Now, his corporation, Dave Asprey, it's called Bulletproof 360, and he has not only expanded that so that now he has, I think, something like 8 or 9 of his centralized areas around the country, but his plans are to go international. And so he will, and he will. Obviously, you have to join it in order to participate in all this, and many have joined. Many. They are mostly middle-aged. Mostly middle-aged. Not too many seniors have joined. Another guy that you may want to know about a little bit is a guy called Brian Johnson. Now, if you were lucky enough to have Netflix, they had a documentary on Brian Johnson. Brian, again, he's 47 years old. And Brian is not a doctor, but he is a millionaire. So I'm not going to tell you his story of how he gained $1 million, but he did it himself. And so Brian started his own company again, and he lives, 100% lives that entire life. So I'm going to give you an example of what it's like to live like Brian Johnson. When this documentary came on, they first focused on him and his father, who's 77, he's 47, and with his middle son, whose age, I believe at the time, was 17 or 18. And they were undergoing plasmapheresis, transferring the plasma from young to old, old to young, etc. They are each undergoing a cross plasmapheresis. If you look at him now, the father believes he has benefited from that plasmapheresis. Brian didn't think he did, nor did his son. So that's looking in retrospect. Then they followed Brian down to an island off of Honduras. Why Honduras? Because it takes so long for anything to get approved and to set anything up here in the United States. He said, I probably wouldn't even live that long. So he went to Honduras and he got some gene therapy. He got 2 injections using the latest gene therapy. The injection was called follistatin, which is a protein that involves the regeneration of cells in the body. He believes that it did help. But let me tell you about his daily lifestyle. He uses 45 different prescription medications, takes over 120 pills a day. 120 a day. Wakes up at 4:30 every morning, goes to bed 8:30 every night. For an hour before he goes to bed, no screen time. Screen time screws up your sleep. 1 hour before. The room is dark. He wears glasses that will eliminate any blue light whatsoever. Takes no other medication. That's his sleep. Gets up at 4:30. First thing he takes is a handful of his pills. A lot of the medications that have, at least in his mind, proven that they extend longevity. Obviously, as opposed to Dave Asprey, he's not after just longevity. He's after quality. Dave Asprey's mostly quality, and Brian Johnson is after longevity. Okay, so he is now getting up. Like I said, he takes his pills. Then he has breakfast, 5 in the morning, has his first breakfast. And that is a concoction that uses blueberries, macadamia nuts, other nuts, into a pudding. And believe it or not, he has manufactured that and now sells that pudding on the market. He sells that as part of his particular manufacturing plant. He calls his whole movement Don't Die. Don't die. In fact, he sells T-shirts and hooded T-shirts and everything, caps and all. Don't die. Don't die. And he goes out all over proselytizing that Don't Die movement. He also has created a company called Blueprint, and it's under that company name, Blueprint, that you can join up. Costs, obviously, it costs. You can join the movement, and you can buy all these different things that he is using for longevity, all under the name of Blueprint. So at this point, he's had his pudding. Now he does his exercise for 1 hour, 6 days a week, 1 hour intense exercise. All intense exercise. Much more than I recommend to people when I have my senior exercise classes. I say 150 minutes a week. So with his, it's 300 minutes. 300 minutes. Actually 360 minutes a week. Okay. So, and his is all intense. So after his exercise, pops some more pills in, and now he does his more formal breakfast. This is now roughly about 8 in the morning. Has his formal breakfast. He's a vegan, so he doesn't tell us that we have to be vegan. You can eat anything, well, within reason. There are things that you have to avoid, but using his products and his adjuvant therapies, all of his supplements and all, and his foods, you can eat what you want as long as it's not processed. Processed foods are terrible. Hydrogenated fats are terrible. Excessive sugar is terrible. So, with those few exceptions, of course, you can eat. So now it takes us to 9 in the morning, where he goes and now he socializes a little. By about 10 in the morning, 10:30 in the morning, he's still socializing, but now he takes his 3rd round of medications. So, I don't know if you want to live that way. He covers everything. Let's say hair loss, for example. He wears a cap, a regular cap, just like a baseball cap, but it has on the inside low light laser at a specific wavelength, somewhere between red wavelength and orange wavelength. And he wears it for 30 minutes every other day. 30 minutes. Wakens up the hair follicles. Unfortunately, he also uses Rogaine and a couple of other minerals to try to stimulate hair growth. Has it helped? Hell yes, it has. It has. One caveat with that, though, again, I'm looking back at it. It doesn't work that well once you've lost your hair and all of the hair follicles have atrophied. So helps you more in middle age when you're beginning to lose your hair. Doesn't help that much when you get to my age. I haven't even thought about it. Red light therapy, okay. He thinks of everything. How to help with your teeth, how to help with your vision, how to help with your hearing, how to help with the muscle mass. All those things are covered with his Blueprint program. Okay, so that's Brian Johnson. You want to live like that, that's fine, but I don't necessarily want to do that myself. So those are the options. Now, what are the important things for all of us? For all of us, because I'm a believer in doing it myself. Number one, you do need adequate sleep. You need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. No question. No question about it. Try to avoid stimulants and pills. Avoid caffeine. Avoid eating. He doesn't eat any solid food after 12 noon. He avoids things like caffeine, as I said, and all caffeine-containing materials. Okay, so sleep, exercise. I get 150 minutes a week. That's what you should shoot for, too. Exercise, no question. Number three, be social. Volunteer. Get into organizations where you're kind of forced to go out and to do things with others. So be social. That's the third. Number four, your diet. It's more what you should avoid than what you should eat. You should avoid, like I had said, hydrogenated fats, excessive sugar, there's a thing called the evil peas, pizza, potatoes, pane, which is bread. All the peas. Got to avoid those things. What else? Keep a limit on your sodium at your age. Teaspoon a day added, that's it. No more. It's enough in food already. Okay. Stay away from all of the fast foods. All of them. All of them, all of them. Make sure you restrict your calories. You have a specific number, whether it's 2,000 calories, whatever it is, a little more for men than for women, but restrict those calories and stick to it. Number six, make sure you drink that water. Incidentally, besides the water, and I don't drink Shrewsbury water, incidentally. I drink bottled water. Yeah, I'm getting microplastics, and it's probably beginning to affect my brain. Of course, they say it doesn't, but that's our government telling us. Yeah, it's not bothering you. Don't worry about it. Just like COVID. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, we did a great job with that. And then the next one, challenge yourself. If you want to do something, do it. Do it. I don't care what it is, whether it's mental exercise, physical exercise, It's important. Now, for the psychological gratitude, be thankful for what you have. Be thankful you were brought on this earth and lived a good life. So be thankful, gratitude, gratitude. So these are all things that are important. Now, what about all these supplements? I've told you about supplements before, and I told you how rotten the FDA is. All those people thousands of people working in the FDA, they don't do their job. They're terrible. I think the government's going to take care of it this time around, though. I hope. I really do hope. Big Pharma rules the roost right now. But at any rate, no supplement, no supplement has been shown to prolong life well. None. So all those 45 that he takes, 120 pills a day, really aren't helping him a lot at all, if at all. So no supplements. I would, however, caution you that you should be taking some anti-inflammatories, and you can do it with food like berries and nuts and things of that nature. Avocados, you can use the omega-3s. And you should also get antioxidants. I drink hydrogen water, which is a good antioxidant. But you don't have to drink that. You can use vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E. Those are all good antioxidants. Should you use a senolytic? In other words, that's one of the theories of aging. The stem cells and all get senile, don't function as well. And so there are things called senolytics, which clear a lot of those senescent stem cells. Right now, he does take some. I don't take it right now because, again, I'm not necessarily up to date, I guess, is what you'd put, as he is. Also, you may want to include anything that's a polyphenol, like flavonoids, like resveratrol, which is in red wine, for example. Don't go drinking a bottle of red wine because Claremont told you, but a couple of glasses a day, not a bad thing to do. So at any rate, that is it for today. This is Dr. C. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I would hope that you can live a very comfortable rest of your life.